Today, on Storm of Blood, we'll be looking at the main feature of the Khorne Allegiance ability, the Blood Tithe table. The Blood Tithe table is that oh so famous table that Khorne players absolutely dread. The Khorne player gets rewarded for having units flee in the battle shock phase, get shot off the table, or being destroyed in the combat phase. Khorne cares not where the blood flows, so long as it flows. There's two sides of the Blood Tithe table. We have the main rewards table found on page 69 of the battle tome, and we have the demon summoning table found on page 70. Today, to prevent information overload, we're only focusing on the Blood Tithe rewards table on page 69. When you're using a reward from the Blood Tithe rewards table, your Blood Tithe count is immediately reset to 0. So intimately understanding the table situation in your game is paramount. Choose unwisely, and Khorne will deem you unworthy. So this video is going to be one of those where I'm mainly talking and there's going to be no examples shown on a tabletop. So this is the perfect type of video to have in the background and simply paint away or work on your models. For, of course, an army is only built steadily and not overnight. Starting with Bloody Exemplar. It's quite simple. You spend 1 Blood Tithe point to gain 1 command point. This combos quite well with the Blood Sacrifice Blood Blessing, which allows you to deal D3 mortal wounds to a Khorne unit wholly within 8 inches of the Slaughter Priest using the Blessing, to gain 1 Blood Tithe. Do this in your first turn, and then use Bloody Exemplar at the start of your opponent's hero phase to reset your Blood Tithe count and start all over again. I have heard of players using up a lot of Blood Tithe in order to simply gain much needed command points. So strategy I'm personally not a fan of, but that player deemed it necessary at the time, and that's what really counts. Understand your table situation. Spell Eater Curse is incredibly handy for only 2 Blood Tithe points. This Blood Tithe reward is used after a wizard has cast the spell and before any unbind attempts are made. Even though we have so many anti-magic capabilities because, Khorne, there will be times where not even all of that will help. Such cases will be against armies that have tremendous bonuses to cast. Great example is Ark and the Black in Legion of Sacrament in the Legions of the Gash Battletome, with a +3 to casting spells. Yes, the Hexforger Skulls do exist, but they can't be everywhere on their table and they only have a 12-inch range. Spell Eater Curse is also great for when you really don't trust your dice to roll well enough to unbind, or there's a crucial spell that he cannot allow to be cast, such as the endless spell Everblaze Comet of the Stormcast Eternals. Murderlust is one of the most powerful Blood Tithe rewards on the entire table. Some can argue it is the most powerful. For 3 Blood Tithe points, a single Khorne unit can make a normal move, or if it is within 12 inches of an enemy unit, can attempt to make a charge move. This is far more powerful than it appears on paper, as it provides a ton of options, such as move your target unit farther away to make it harder to be charged. This is great on Bloodthirsters to be able to fly back and over another unit and then be screened. Move your target unit up to take an objective. Move a hero to have the special abilities come into effect on a unit previously out of range, such as a Bloodstoker. Double move with the unit to make them faster than anticipated. Charge a unit to lock them down from moving, or to force a retreat and shut the unit down, assuming they have no way of ignoring that. Charge with a unit of Skull Crushers or Blood Crushers, doing unexpected mortal wounds at the end of each model's charge move. And the list goes on. As you can see, your creativity is the limit with Murderlust, and with creativity, this leads to more blood and more skulls. Apoplectic Frenzy, for 4 Blood Tithe points, can make or break a game, depending on who you ask. This allows 1 Khorne unit that is within 3 inches of an enemy unit to pile in and fight. This is great to use immediately following your opponent double turning you, as this allows you to throw a massive wrench into their plans. On the flip side, Using this in your hero phase can allow one of your units to be freed up and act normally in the rest of the turn, such as to then charge and fight once again. Or you can follow up with a unit that just fought in the prior turn's combat phase. This is by far my favorite, and I use this one all the time. And I do have to mention that this can be a, quote, trap. I don't like using this term a lot because I find it overused, but as mentioned previously, just because you have this option doesn't mean you should ignore the others. And you need to understand your table situation to such a point where if you deem this worthy, you better be right. I actually have a great example of this playing against a Grand Host in the Gash game where I had 2 Skull Reapers left alive and they're in combat with a Graveguard unit. I used Apoplectic Frenzy instead of using Brass Skull Meteor because there was a White King right behind the Graveguard unit on 1 wound after being blood boiled by my Slaughter Priests. I used this and barely did any mortal wounds because, you know, they're only rolling 8 attacks since they're out of range of all the attack buffs. Always keep in mind your other options and your table situation. Khorne rewards those that think ahead and not just mindless slaughter. Remember, he is also a god of martial prowess and honor. Brass Skull Meteor for 5 Blood Tithe points is highly matchup dependent. It's best used in situations when there's a vital hero left with just 1 wound that absolutely needs to die. The splash damage capability I will consider a bonus. A great example of how this can be used is the following scenario. In fact, I just touched upon it. Let's say that there is a vital hero that has been blood boiled but survived on a single wound. If there was a single way to finish this hero off, it would completely change the dynamic of the game. This is where Brass Skull Meteor comes into play. And it nets you another Blood Tithe. As previously mentioned, I had a game against the Grand Host of Nagash where I used the wrong Blood Tithe ability, Apoplectic Frenzy, when I really should have used the Brass Skull Meteor. If I had done so, my opponent's general, the White King, would have been slain, preventing my opponent from bringing back their large unit of skeleton warriors of 40 models that I had slain earlier in the game. And this would have also removed the Deathless Minions save aura from the general, remove another source of recursion, and also lose the command trait that is being used to offensively buff any other death units around the general, and also remove the source of -1 to wound as he had that lantern. So what I'm trying to say is, this is essentially a sniping tool to finish off wounded heroes. It's actually kind of funny to think of a meteor to snipe because, you know, it's kind of big. 5 Blood Tithe is rather consistent to get, so always try to keep this option in mind if the priority roll does not go your way. Relentless Fury for 6 Blood Tithe points can be an absolutely game-changing ability by itself. The trick with it, though, is to know exactly when to use it. It's great to use on demon-heavy lists since they don't have the capability of doing damage back when they die. But it's even more incredible with mortals, because they do damage back when they die in the combat phase naturally. Wrathmongers do mortal wounds back. Blood Warriors have the special ability, No Respite, where this does stack with them as clarified in the designer's commentary for the battletome. So you can have Blood Warriors pile in and fight twice when they die, on top of them fighting normally if you chose them to fight earlier in the combat phase. Imagine a Bloodthirster of insensate rage piling in and fighting before it dies at the top of the wound bracket, and if you roll lucky on these attacks, you will do extra exploding mortal wounds that were not expected. Relentless Fury is highly situational, but it can definitely win you a game. And now we're moving on to the higher Blood Tithe rewards, Crimson Reign and Slaughter Triumphant. Crimson Reign for 7 Blood Tithe points is one of those abilities that you really want to occur as early in the game as possible. This reward can be redeemed once per game, and what it is, models in your army immediately heal D3 wounds, and in each of your following hero phases, they heal another D3 wounds. This is best in lists with tons of multi-wound units. However, when you crunch the numbers, you'd be really hard-pressed to get it earlier than Battle Round 3. If the Blood Sacrifice Blood Blessing is taken, and it goes off in Battle Rounds 1 and 2, that is a minimum of 2 Blood Tithe. And this is assuming that you choose the same target and it is not slain as a result of Blood Sacrifice. Then 5 units need to be slain in the first turn of Battle Round 2. The first turn was stated specifically because it will allow you to use Crimson Rain at the start of the hero phase in the second turn of Battle Round 2. I can see 5 units dying at this point in time, but I consider it highly improbable unless you're taking a list that centers around Blood Reavers, which means you're using the Dark Feast Battalion. Battle Round 3 is the most common time that Crimson Rain will come into play. Therefore, this Blood Tithe reward will occur only 4 times in a match play game. Once when it's used, once in your hero phase of Battle Round 3, assuming this reward was claimed in your opponent's hero phase, once in your hero phase of Battle Round 4, and once in your hero phase of Battle Round 5. The Blood Blessing Resanguination makes much more sense to use since it can be used immediately and is not cut into using the other Blood Tithe rewards. In case it's not obvious, I don't recommend saving up your Blood Tithe for Crimson Rain. Depending on your table situation, one of the other Blood Tithe rewards would probably be more favorable, or summoning in 20 Bloodletters. And now we have the final option, the one that Khorne makes us smile the most. Slaughter Triumphant. For 8 Blood Tithe points, this reward can be redeemed once per game, and what it is, every unmodified hit roll of a 6 made by any melee weapon in your army. That attack counts as 2 hits instead of 1, with the second hit following the normal attack sequence. This sounds quite devastating, but in the context of a game, this has a lot of the same issues that Crimson Rain has. You're not going to easily get this very early in the game to make it worthwhile, which is really unfortunate because this is absolutely amazing because we just throw so many attacks out. Skull Reapers with this turned on early in the game would become even bigger blunders. And that's the Blood Tithe rewards table. Tune in next time in Storm of Blood where we'll be looking at the Khorne Demon summoning table and some tips and tricks to determine which table to use in your game. If you like this video, give it a big thumbs up. If you didn't, tell me why so that way Karanak is not sent after me. Subscribe and hit that notification bell so that way you don't miss a single video. Until next time, I'll see you on the battlefield.